so faithful. Jesus, you have been so true. I will be forever thankful, 'cause I never had a friend like you. Help me to be who you've been to me, to everyone I see. Let us love one another with a love like no other yet. That's the way you love us, God. Never turn away, you are with us every day, yeah. That's the way you love us, God. Your love is always been beginning to end. There's never been a better friend. So let us love one another with our love like no other yet. That's the way you love us, God. You with me in the darkest valley. You with me on the mountaintop. I'm thankful that you never leave me, and that your love will never stop. Help me to be who you've been to me, to everyone I see. Let us love one another with a love like no other yet. That's the way you love us, God. Never turn away, you are with us every day, yeah. That's the way you love us, God. Your love is always been beginning to end. There's never been a better friend. So let us love one another with our love like no other yet. That's the way you love us, God. I wanna thank you for being a friend who's always by my side. I wanna thank you for the way you love me all my life. I wanna thank you for being a friend who's always by my side. I wanna thank you for the way you love me all my life. Love one another with a love like no other yet. That's the way you love us, God. Never turn away, you are with us every day, yeah. That's the way you love us, God. Your love is always been beginning to end. There's never been a better friend. So let us love one another with our love like no other yet. That's the way you love us, God.
Hello explorers, I'm Kat and I hope that you have had a really good week this week. This month we have been thinking all about the theme of friendship, and this is using your words and your actions to show others that you care. Do you remember at the very beginning of September we created some friendship recipes, and we thought about all of the different ingredients that you might need to be a good friend. We thought about being an encouraging friend, and we thought about being a loving friend. But do you know what? I have to confess, this cake right here isn't one I made myself. I actually bought this from the shops. Because sometimes when I try and follow a recipe, it doesn't turn out perfectly, like this cake here. Sometimes it goes a bit wrong, sometimes the icing's a bit messy, or it's a bit burnt, or a little bit squishy. And I think sometimes friendship can be like that too. Some friends aren't perfect. In fact, perhaps no friend is perfect. So what do we do when our friends make mistakes? I wonder if one time you've been creating a beautiful picture, maybe you've spent hours and hours on it and it's perfect and you think it's amazing and you can't wait to get home to show your family, and then your friend who's sitting next to you spills their green paint all over your picture and it seems like it's ruined. What do you do then? Or what about if a friend says something unkind to you, or if they don't invite you to their birthday party? What should you do then? I wonder if perhaps you've had times when you haven't been a perfect friend either. This week we are thinking about forgiveness and how we can forgive our friends. We're going to hear a story about Jesus and one of his friends called Peter. Peter was one of Jesus' very, very close friends. Imagine your best friend. Imagine who your really close friends are. But Peter made a mistake because at a moment when Jesus was going through a really bad time, probably the worst time that he'd ever experienced in his life on earth, At that moment, when he needed his friends most, Peter pretended that he didn't know Jesus. He lied and said he wasn't his friend. How do you think Jesus reacted when Peter did this? We'll have a bit of a quiz. See if you can have a guess at what you think Jesus did, and then we'll watch the video to find out. So, do you think Jesus, A, stopped speaking to Peter and told everyone he was a really bad friend and they shouldn't be friends with him either? Did he, B, cook him breakfast on the beach and then give him a really, really important job because he trusted Peter? Or did he, C, push him over and tell him to never come near him ever again? I wonder what Jesus did. Let's watch our story and find out.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. And now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of John, chapter 21, verses 1 through 19.
Peter hauled in the knotted net yet again as the first light of dawn gleamed in the eastern sky.
Empty. Not a single fish all night.
Thomas shook his head.
I doubt we'll catch a thing before it's time to take the boat in.
John studied Peter thoughtfully.
Peter, you didn't really want to catch fish anyway, did you? You just wanted to get out in the boat and do something normal.
Peter shrugged, but he knew John was right. Over the past few weeks and months, everything in his life had turned upside down. First, Peter had shown the courage to speak the truth about his friend Jesus.
You are the Christ. You are the Son of the living God.
Many people wanted to make Jesus king, even though the religious leaders hated him. The day before Jesus was killed, Peter had promised Jesus that he would follow him anywhere, and even give up his life for Jesus. But that very evening, Jesus was arrested. Peter was so scared he told 3 different people he wasn't Jesus' friend.
I don't know that man.
Peter felt sick about what he'd done, especially when Jesus was nailed to the cross and died. But then he returned to life. He appeared to his friends. It was amazing, incredible. Everyone was excited beyond belief. Except Peter must have wondered.
Is Jesus mad at me? Am I still his friend? Does he still love me?
Now Peter found himself in the boat, trying to figure it all out. His fingers tightened on the wet rope as he prepared to cast the net one more time. As he glanced over on the shoreline, he saw a figure standing there.
Friends, don't you have any fish?
Nope, not one.
Throw your net on the right side of the boat. There you will find some fish.
The 7 disciples in the boat exchanged glances as Thomas laughed.
I seriously doubt it.
You guys have anything better to do? Let's give it a try.
Together, the men heaved the heavy wet net back into the sea on the other side.
Hey, I think we've got something.
Bring it on in. There's 1 fish.
2 fish,
A red fish. Ugh.
a blue fish, and another one, and another 10. Whoa, need some help here.
The net was so full of fish, they couldn't haul it into the boat. They began towing it to shore. John gaped at the man still standing on the beach.
It's the Lord.
Excitement raced through Peter's veins. He was about to see Jesus again. But just as quickly, guilt gnawed at his stomach. Facing Jesus meant he had to face how he denied knowing Jesus.
But it's Jesus. I've got to see him no matter what.
Grabbing his coat, Peter jumped out of the boat and into the water. He half ran and half waded to the beach when he discovered that Jesus started a small bonfire. Fish and bread were already toasting over the flames.
He's God's son and he's making breakfast for us.
Jesus smiled at Peter.
Bring some of the fish you have just caught.
Yes, Lord.
Peter ran back to the lapping water to help his friends haul their fish to shore.
153.
You counted?
Don't doubt it.
Jesus gestured to the disciples to join him around the fire.
Come and have breakfast.
As the disciples gathered, Jesus offered them bread to eat. John whispered to Peter.
This is what he did when we last ate together at the Passover meal.
When breakfast finished, the disciples rose to take care of their fish. Peter found himself walking beside Jesus. There were so many things he wanted to say, but he couldn't find the words.
Simon Peter, do you really love me more than these others do?
Peter swallowed hard. Surely Jesus knew what he felt.
Yes, Lord, you know that I love you.
Feed my lambs.
Peter remembered how Jesus would compare people to sheep in his stories.
Peter, do you really love me?
Lord, you know that I love you.
Take care of my sheep.
Sheep, people. Peter waited in his mind. Jesus must be telling Peter to take care of the people who had followed him.
Peter, do you love me?
Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you.
Feed my sheep.
Just as Peter denied knowing Jesus 3 times, he now confirmed 3 times that he loved Jesus. What's more, Jesus wanted Peter to go out and share that love with others.
He's forgiven me, even after what I did.
Peter, things are going to get even more difficult for you. You are going to be led places you do not want to go.
Peter slowly nodded his head. He was willing to do anything Jesus asked of him.
Follow me.
Yes, Lord, I will.
Because Jesus had forgiven him, Peter was now free to share the love of God with those around him, without carrying around a heavy load of guilt.
Wow, Jesus forgave Peter, and he even cooked him a special breakfast on the beach. Jesus is like that with us too. He loves us so much, and we can learn from him how we can be good friends who also forgive. When you finish watching this video, maybe have a chat with your family about what it really looks like to forgive your friends, and maybe how it feels to be forgiven by somebody else too. If you like a craft project, then the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can make a poster to help you remember this month's memory verse. If you're not into crafts, then you can switch off the video and you can have a chat about some of those questions. But if you'd like to have a go at making a poster, then stay with us and I will show you everything that you need to do this craft. To do this craft, you are going to need some paint. You could choose one colour, you could have a few colours. I've gone for red and yellow. You're going to need 2 pieces of paper. You're going to need a felt tip pen, some scissors, and some pencils with rubbers on the end, preferably ones that you don't really like that much or you're not going to use again. You could also use cotton buds if you've got those instead of the pencils with the rubbers. So that's what you need for this craft, and now I'm going to show you what to do. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is you need to take one piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half. You're then going to draw half of a love heart so that it joins up, so you can put a little dot there and a little dot there, and I'm going to make the top half of the love heart and it's going to come all the way down and meet that dot at the bottom. What I can do now is cut that out, keeping my paper folded in half. So now I should have a love heart shape. You could also, if you've got a printer at home, you could find a picture of the love heart on the computer and print it out and cut it out. But this is just a really quick, easy way. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your other piece of paper. Oh, I've just made you wobble, sorry. And you're going to get your love heart and you're going to pop it right in the middle. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the little rubber on the end of my pencil, and I'm going to get my paint and I'm going to dip the rubber in and I'm going to use it a bit like a stamp. So if you're feeling like you don't want to be too messy, then if you've got some stamp pens you could do this as well. I'm going to hold my heart in its place. Now if you think you're going to be a bit fidgety, you could use some blue tack or some masking tape to stick it in place. I'm going to try and hold mine in place, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put lots of dots all around it, and hopefully this will make a really cool pattern. I'm going to switch colours, so I'm going to add some yellow in as well. So you could do lots of colours, you could just do one. You could pick whatever your favourite colours are. I'm going to have some yellow on the very outsides, I think, of my pattern. Okay, so I've put all the dots on that I want to. You could go right up to the edges of your paper if you want to, but I'm going to leave the outsides white. And you're going to want to let this dry, but I'm a little bit pushed for time, so I'm going to risk it. So I'm going to peel now very carefully the love heart from the middle of my paper. And now I've got a blank space in the middle, and that is where I am going to write my memory verse. So, can you remember what it is? A friend loves at all times. They are there to help when trouble comes. Proverbs 17:17. So, I'm going to write that in now, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, there you go. You can see I have finished my poster. And I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to put that on my wall so I can remember our memory verse. So I hope you've enjoyed that craft today, and I hope you have a really good week, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye!